Hey y'all, how's it going? R&B Queen slash Hospitality Queens here in AK Positive Pinky. You know what I really fucking hate is when people act like they're the only ones not feeling well. Like my therapist did that today. She acted like she was the only one going through it. And it's like, you know what? Like, I go through it more than she does. It's like, like, and I hate when people do things that they're not okay with if you do to them, but it's somehow okay for you to do that or for them to do it to you. I cannot stand that. Really, like, there's nothing more that I hate. Okay, maybe hate's a strong word. I should probably use strongly dislike. But anyway, so she canceled the appointment. And I mean, honestly, I didn't want to meet with her anyway. Like, because honestly, sometimes we just need a vacation from people, and I was just off the clock from her. Like, so it worked out because, I didn't feel good either, from the sinusitis. I was in a lot of ear pain and stuff like that, and sinus pain. And, of course, people don't always see that because I just present that I feel amazing when really I don't have the time. I'm just a good actress and I have it all together. But anyway, I'll see her Thursday, but honestly, like, it's not her fault, but at the same time, like, it would have been nice to have more notice. Thank you. Um, but it was one of those days where I just woke up on the wrong side of the bed. I just did not want to participate in this day. I could tell, like I could tell the sinusitis was unbearable, um, of course, people probably couldn't tell that because I held it together. And, because I'm such a people pleaser, okay, let's talk about that for a minute. You know, Sometimes people pleasing has got me into trouble because people probably, well, a lot of times they get frustrated when I am so quick to say yes. And they're like, okay, Tierney, are you just saying that or are you really being serious? And sometimes that's frustrating to me. Like, I wish people would consider my frustrations and not just theirs. But then again, like, I feel like at work is one of the few places where I feel validated. Like, I can always count on them to ask me how I'm doing or how I'm feeling, even if they don't even know what the fuck is going on. Like, they'll at least ask me, how are you? And I'll take that over, like, oh, you seem fine. I think anyone that is judgmental needs to retire. Can we just normalize that? I cannot stand people that are judgmental. I really cannot stand that. I'm trying not to use the word hate, even though sometimes I'm guilty of saying that when I'm like angry or frustrated, and I say it out of frustration. I don't really mean it like that. But I really do not like it when people are judgmental and critical, especially if they haven't gone through what I've gone through or they, you know, haven't experienced what, to the degree that I have, and as entitled as it sounds, it's true. Like there's always someone who has it worse off. And, you know, like you never know what's going on behind the closed doors, which is why I try not to judge if someone's being away with me. Like, I do my best not to take it personally because it's a reflection of them and their insecurities, not with me. Because I know my worth enough to know that that is not a reflection of me. Now if I am in the wrong, like I'll own up to it and I'll apologize because, that's one of my strengths. I've always apologized when I'm in the wrong. In fact, I probably apologize more than the other person on the other end. If I'm in a disagreement, I'm always the first to apologize. I think that's just common sense. I feel like I don't understand people that don't apologize when they're wrong. It's like, who raised y'all? Like, did y'all not learn how to take responsibility as a child? Because, like, you know, um, but at the end of the day, we could all die tomorrow. Like, literally, we could be experiencing life in a coffin or being cremated. Like, I don't know. I think I like the idea of being cremated because I don't know how I feel about being in a coffin. Like, I think I would feel suffocated, but personally, like, if someone's already dead, they don't have time to like think about, like, this is really dark humor, but no, literally, because like literally Like, I could die tomorrow. I could die on the 4th of July. I could die, like, on my 32nd birthday, literally. And it's hard to believe I'm going to be 32 in September. Like, it's like, here the fuck am I? Like, here the fuck I am. Like, take me as I am, in the words of Mary J. Blige. But you know what? Like, when people are being away, I know that says everything about them, and it doesn't really say anything. Well, no. Sometimes it does say something about me because it's like, okay, like, but I was really struggling to put the phone down today. Like, normally I can, like, kind of, check that at the door, but I was really distracted today. Like, there came a certain point where I was checked out and I was just ready for the day to be done. Like, literally, you know, but, sometimes, I mean, we've all canceled at some point in our life. Like, personally, I think it's fucking stupid because it's like, if you ain't gonna commit to it, like, don't even, like, commit. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I don't understand. Like, you know, but, we need to normalize how breakup is not the same thing as losing a significant other. Like, someone being dead is a whole new level of loss. I'm not saying that a breakup isn't a loss. It is a loss. It can feel like a death. But honestly, like, there's a huge difference between a breakup where the person is still alive and you still have the benefit of having them in your life, and then someone who is just plain in fact fucking dead and they're either 6 feet under in the ground or they're cremated. Especially because I didn't even get to go to Flip's funeral because this was all the way in Baltimore. So, that's another reason. I didn't even get to say goodbye to him. Like, literally. Like, he's probably spinning his grave. Like, well, you don't come to my funeral. But there was no way that my family was going, like, let me take no lift there. Because, like, you know, like, let's just. But, I make it up by, like, doing tributes to him. People probably be thinking I'm, crazy. But you know what? If your significant other was dead, you do tributes too. In some way, even if it was poetry or like rap or whatever. But people need to realize that a breakup is not the same thing as someone being dead. I mean, that's like me saying that when my family's in Naples, Florida, like, oh, because I did that one time in the past, I made that mistake of like, oh, like, I know how it is, now I know how people who lost their parents feel because I'm away from my parent. And I had to learn that is not the same thing. Like, that's exact kind of same ball game. Like, it's like that's just something that I've learned not to say because I don't know what it's like to lose a parent. I thankfully haven't experienced that, but I know I will someday, and hopefully it won't be for a while. But, until I will say this. I mean, losing Flip was life-changing, and that's kind of the self-realization I came to. Like, I come to a whole new appreciation. Like, I tell my family I love them so much more because of that. Because literally, I don't know when they're gonna die. I mean, I don't even know when the fuck I'm gonna die. Like, but I have noticed that ever since Flip's death, I don't fear death. I'm just kind of like, if I die, I die. I mean, I'll feel content when I die because I'll just be like, I'll just be like, I did everything I could to participate in this life, and we got to participate, and it's all about participating in this life. I mean, like, that's the whole point in life is making the most of things. But, you know, I think we need to normalize being off the clock, like being off the clock from bullshit, being off the clock from people's energy, being off the clock from people's bitchiness. Like, people don't always know what's going on in my mind. Like, I'd be having these thoughts, like, internally, like, I'd be thinking, like, when someone be impatient with me, of course, I'd be thinking they're a bitch, like, but I don't say it, like, and maybe sometimes it slips out, but not, like, directly to them. It's kind of just like, okay, like, why are they being away? Like, Because, yeah, I mean, think about it. There's so many times where I want to tell people, to fuck off, but I know that's not a very nice thing to say, and I would never say it because it's disrespectful. And that's just not the person I am. Like, because I think that's kind of like, growing up, I watched this show called Lizzie McGuire, and, it would always have the imaginary, like, cartoon of what she would want to say, but she didn't, and sometimes it would come out. But I think that's kind of, what I experience in my mind. I have thoughts that I want to say, but I would never say, because, sometimes things are better left unsaid. It's better to just keep it to yourself. I mean, shouldn't that be self explanatory and common sense? You know, um, but yeah, people are tripping, and, it's perfectly okay to be off the clock from people. Like tomorrow, I'm probably going to disconnect because I am just that done with people, to the point where I'm just literally gonna sit in stillness, like literally fucking meditate and like be in stillness, because that's just like the way to go. Because, I am just off the clock from people's bullshit, people's attitude, people's energy, you know. But you know what? That's why I'm here doing covers. Um, I love how like hardly anyone watches my live videos. Like there were people that used to watch my live videos that they like almost never do now. It's like fine, be that way. I see how it is, And it's like I know my worth enough to not even give a fuck. Like if people don't like my post, I don't really fucking care, cuz I know my worth enough to be like that's on them and that's their choice. They have the right to not do that. And really, like, likes on social media do not define who we are. Like, it's just like the scale does not define who we are. Like probably when I was in college, I probably thought I was like so fat, but now I'm a lot fatter than I was then. But honestly, I struggle with my eating disorder, anorexia, on and off, and it's an everyday battle. A lot of people I work with probably don't even know I have a history of anorexia, because a lot of things I go through, I don't really always tell them, but they probably pick up on it. But I love my coworkers. I love my job. I love the tips. I even love my customers. I mean, they really bring a lot of joy. I mean, I think anything we go through in life is going to come with frustration, and it does come with frustration. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't trade it for the world, and I'm like filled with gratitude about it. You know, because I think that's just human nature. Like we all drive each other nuts sometimes. Like even if we don't live with them, like there's sometimes where I'm sure that we're all driving each other nuts, and the people that are close to you, including the people you work with, are gonna drive each other nuts. It's different, personalities, different people that are on different levels of the self, because there's not really a one-way street to like work on the self. I mean, someone could be like 65 and act like they're 13. Someone could be like 25 and have the maturity of someone like twice their age. You know what I mean? Like it's just like, but no, I mean the people close to us are the ones that are going to drive each other nuts, because like when we're in close relationships and we see that vulnerability and we see that authenticity, like that's going to really allow for the growth. And like sometimes that can come with a lot of frustration with each other, because like we have to consider other people's frustrations, not just ours. And I'm kind of guilty of that too sometimes. Like sometimes I've had times where I've been so wrapped up in my frustrations that I forget to acknowledge other people's. But a lot of times, people have also done that with me. Like, they only consider their frustrations and not mine, which is, well, frustrating, because it's like in order to understand things, we have to see it from both perspectives. Like, I used to think the whole two wrongs don't make a right was bullshit. I mean, sometimes I still think it is, because it's like you're either right or you're wrong. Like, there's no in between. But, like, I guess it makes sense because, like, there's not, people are not always in the wrong. People do not always do things wrong. I think we need to normalize that. Like, yeah, like just because we have frustrations with what someone's doing doesn't mean that they always do things wrong. But a lot of times we say things we don't mean out of frustration. I do that. I do that a lot. And, I think that's just a part of my thought process that I just am always processing is like, because I'm always seeing how I can improve. Like if someone gives me constructive feedback, let's say at work, I see it as a chance to improve, even if I've maybe had a pattern of making a particular mistake or issue. I still see it as a chance to improve because I think, okay, I'm gonna get it. It'll take time, but I'll see how I can improve on it. Now, I used to be the type that would be very defensive. Like, literally, I would be on defense all the time. But now I'm not really like that. Now I can take that pause and be like, okay, like, clearly, if someone is frustrated with me, it means they care. Because if they just didn't care, they just wouldn't say nothing. And they'd just be like, fuck it. Like, fuck this. But, like, at the end of the day, like, if people are frustrated, chances are they do care. Like, when I'm frustrated with people, it means I care about them. Like, if I'm frustrated that they're being a certain way, it means that I know they can do better. And, people probably feel that way with me too. They're like, if they're frustrated with me about something, it's because they see my potential and they know I can do better than what I'm doing. But anyway, that is my TED Talk for tonight. Thank you. But happy Promo Tuesday. We're almost halfway through the week. Yay. Man, it's been a fucking day. Deadass. But, it's all about how we handle the situation, and I feel like I handled it well. So, I'm learning that I cannot please people, or at least I can't please everybody. Maybe I can please some people, and I do what I can, to cater them, but, I'm not going to be able to please every person. Chances are it's going to be really easy for me to upset people and disappoint them, especially if things are not going their way, and then whatever. But, I think I still struggle with that fear, constant fear of that people are always upset with me when I know that it's just all in my head. But but really it feels very real to think like, oh, I'm just waiting for the next shoe to drop, like this and that and the third. Like, okay, like, like, are they going to be upset with me? Like, is this life or death? Well, really, it's not, because if people are upset with me, they're upset with me. Like, there's not much I can do, like, except for, like, yeah, like, apologize and own up to it, which is what I do. Because I just think that's common sense. Like, that's just, like, how I was raised, to own up to things and take responsibility and apologize when we're wrong, like, admit when we're wrong. I mean, I think that's just really common sense. I don't understand people that, blame, because when people blame things on others, it's a reflection of their insecurities. When they judge and criticize, it's a reflection of their insecurities because they have issues with work on the self and they're not doing that internal work, because if they have the time to judge and criticize, they're not making a good use of their time. And they're clearly not doing their internal work. But yeah, I'm probably get shit for saying that. But you know what? Whatever. I'm off the clock, so it doesn't matter. Like, you know. But anyway, let me get into this. So I'm going to be doing That's the Way It Is by Celine Dion. I hope you all enjoy. Yeah. I can read your mind, and I know your story. I see what you're going through. Yeah, it's an uphill climb, and I feel it's sorry, but know it will come to you. Yeah, don't surrender, 'cause you can't win in this thing called love. When you want it the most, there's no easy way out. When you're ready to go, when your heart's lifted down, don't give up on your faith. Love comes to those who believe it, and that's the way it is. When you question me for a simple answer, don't know what to say. No, but it's plain to see, if you stick together, you're gonna find a way. Yeah. So don't surrender, 'cause you can win in this thing called love. When you want it the most, there's no easy way out. When you're ready to go, when your heart's lifted down, don't give up on your faith. Love comes to those who believe, and that's the way it is. That's the way it is, yeah. When life is empty with no tomorrow, loneliness starts to call. Don't worry, forget your sorrow. Love's gonna conquer it all. Oh.